I woke up in the hospital to find my boyfriend had convinced my parents I was mentally unstable and needed him to protect my business. I'd built a $6 million software company over 8 years, and I'd been unconscious for 18 hours due to a panic attack. What Trevor didn't know when he forged transfer documents was that I'd installed blockchain verification on every company asset, and his fraud was being documented in real time. Before we continue, make sure you subscribe, like, and share this story because what happens next will leave you absolutely stunned. Your boyfriend is handling everything, my mother said, stroking my hair as I blinked awake in the hospital bed. Trevor's been such a rock. He's taking care of the business paperwork, so you don't have to worry about anything while you recover. The words filtered through my foggy brain slowly. What paperwork? The company documents. The ones you were so stressed about. Trevor explained that the pressure was making you sick, and he's going to manage things until you're better. Ice flooded my veins despite the warm hospital room. Mom, what did you sign? Just some papers Trevor brought. He said they were temporary management documents, so the business doesn't suffer while you're unwell. I ripped the 4 from my arm, ignoring the nurse's protest. Where's my phone? Honey, you need to rest. Where is my phone? My father appeared in the doorway. Naomi, calm down. You're going to make yourself worse. Dad, what did Trevor have you sign? He exchanged a glance with my mother. Power of attorney documents. Temporary ones. Trevor explained that with you hospitalized, someone needs to be able to make business decisions. I was hospitalized for 18 hours. Not 18 months. You gave my boyfriend power of attorney over my company. He said you'd been having episodes. That you've been unstable for weeks. I had one panic attack. From working 90-hour weeks. That doesn't make me incompetent. The nurse tried to reinsert my 4. I pulled away. I'm checking myself out. Now. At my apartment, I opened my laptop with shaking hands. My company, Apex Solutions, was a software development firm I'd built from my college dorm room. 8 years. 60 employees. $6 million annual revenue. Everything I'd worked for. I logged into the business account. Access denied. I tried the corporate banking portal. Access denied. The company email. Access denied. Trevor had changed every password. I called my business attorney, Marcus Webb. Marcus, it's Naomi. I need you to check something immediately. Naomi, Trevor said you were hospitalized. How are you feeling? What did Trevor tell you? That you'd had a breakdown. That you'd given him temporary management authority while you recovered. He came by yesterday with paperwork. What paperwork? Transfer documents. Moving company ownership to a management LLC for asset protection purposes. He said it was tax strategy you'd discussed. I never discussed that. Marcus, Trevor doesn't have authority to transfer anything. He had power of attorney signed by your parents as your legal guardians. I'm 32 years old. My parents aren't my legal guardians. Marcus, he's stealing my company. Silence. Then, oh God. Naomi, he filed the transfer documents yesterday. The ownership was officially changed this morning. Changed to what? An LLC called Summit Holdings. Trevor listed himself as managing member. Can you reverse it? Not without proving fraud. And that requires evidence that he acted without authorization. He forged my signature. Did he? Or did he use your parents' power of attorney? Because if they legally had authority to grant him management rights. They didn't. I never gave them guardianship. Then we need to prove that. Fast. Because if those documents look legitimate, Trevor legally owns your company right now. I called my CTO, David Kim. Naomi, are you okay? Trevor said. I know what Trevor said. Listen carefully. I need you to access the blockchain verification system I installed last year. The one that tracks all corporate document changes? Yes. Every ownership transfer, every major contract, every financial transaction is recorded on an immutable ledger with timestamp verification. Can you pull the records from the past 3 days? I can try. Trevor locked me out of some systems. Use your emergency admin credentials. The ones only you and I know about. I heard typing. Okay, I'm in. What am I looking for? Ownership transfer documents. Timestamp them. Show me when they were filed versus when I was hospitalized. More typing. Found them. The initial power of attorney was filed at 3 p.m. yesterday. You were admitted to the hospital at 2 p.m. So 1 hour after I was hospitalized, Trevor was already filing paperwork. Looks like it. And there's more. The actual ownership transfer documents were dated and electronically signed 3 days ago. 3 days ago, I was in Seattle at a client meeting. I couldn't have signed anything. Exactly. The timestamp shows they were executed from Trevor's IP address. But they're backdated to appear like you signed them before your hospitalization. That's fraud. Digital fraud. Can you preserve all of this? Already done. The blockchain ledger is immutable. It can't be altered or deleted. Every transaction is permanently recorded with cryptographic verification. Send everything to Marcus. And David, don't tell Trevor we talked. He already tried to fire me this morning. He what? Said the company was restructuring and my position was eliminated. I told him he couldn't fire the CTO without board approval. He said he was the board now. Marcus called back an hour later. Naomi, this is sophisticated fraud. Trevor didn't just take over your company. He planned this. The backdated documents. The power of attorney scheme. The electronic signature forgery. This wasn't opportunistic. This was premeditated. How do we stop him? We file an emergency injunction. But we need more evidence. What's he doing with the company right now? I don't know. I'm locked out of everything. Let me make some calls. 20 minutes later, my phone rang again. It was Sophie Martinez, my accountant. Naomi, something very strange just happened. Someone named Trevor Hutchins contacted me claiming to be the new owner of Apex Solutions. He's requesting a full financial disclosure and access to all accounts. Don't give him anything. I wasn't planning to. But here's what's interesting. He also asked about selling the company. He wanted to know the fair market value and if I knew any potential buyers. He's trying to sell my company? Already. That's what it sounds like. He mentioned needing a quick sale for liquidity reasons. I told him any sale would require extensive documentation and verification. Stall him. I need time to build a case. Marcus filed an emergency motion that afternoon. We requested an immediate hearing based on fraud evidence. The blockchain timestamps showing backdated documents, the electronic signatures from Trevor's IP address, the fact that I'd been in Seattle when documents claimed I was signing transfers. The judge scheduled a hearing for 2 days later. In those 2 days, Trevor moved fast. He contacted 3 potential buyers for Apex Solutions. He tried to transfer company funds to personal accounts. He attempted to fire 5 senior employees, including David. But every action was recorded, timestamped, preserved on an immutable digital ledger he didn't know existed. The hearing was in front of Judge Patricia Anderson. Trevor showed up with an expensive lawyer and confident demeanor. Your Honor, his attorney began, Mr. Hutchins legally obtained management authority over Apex Solutions through proper legal channels. Ms. Walsh's parents, concerned about her mental health, granted him power of attorney. I'd like to address that, Marcus interrupted. Ms. Walsh's parents had no legal authority to grant power of attorney. She's a competent adult with no guardianship arrangements. They were deceived by Mr. Hutchins into signing documents they didn't understand. Trevor's lawyer objected. The documents were properly notarized. Notarized doesn't mean authorized. Ms. Walsh never granted her parents guardianship. Their signatures on power of attorney documents are meaningless. Judge Anderson looked at me. Ms. Walsh, were you aware your parents were signing these documents? No, Your Honor. I was unconscious in a hospital recovering from a panic attack. My boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, visited my parents during that time and convinced them I was mentally unstable and needed his management. And you dispute that assessment? Completely. I had 1 panic attack from work stress. I was hospitalized for 18 hours and released with a clean bill of health. I'm not incompetent. I'm the victim of fraud. Judge Anderson turned to Marcus. You mentioned evidence? Marcus presented the blockchain records. Your Honor, Apex Solutions uses blockchain verification for all major corporate documents. This technology creates an immutable record of when documents are created, signed, and filed. These records prove that Mr. Hutchins backdated ownership transfer documents to make them appear legitimate. He showed the timestamps. The documents are dated 3 days before Ms. Walsh's hospitalization. But the blockchain records show they were actually created and executed 1 day after her hospitalization, from Mr. Hutchins's IP address, not Ms. Walsh's. So he forged them and backdated them. Electronic signature fraud. Additionally, Ms. Walsh was in Seattle on the date the documents claim she signed them. We have airline records, hotel receipts, and meeting documentation proving she couldn't have executed these documents. Trevor's lawyer stood. Your Honor, There may be confusion about dates. There's no confusion, David Kim said from the gallery. I'm the CTO of Apex Solutions. I personally maintain the blockchain system. These records cannot be altered or faked. Mr. Hutchins committed digital fraud, and we have irrefutable proof. Judge Anderson studied the documents for a long moment. Mr. Hutchins, did you backdate these ownership transfer documents? Trevor's confident expression cracked. There may have been some confusion about timing. Did you or did you not create documents dated 3 days prior and execute them using Ms. Walsh's electronic signature without her authorization? I was trying to protect the company. Answer the question. The documents were strategically dated to ensure smooth transition. So yes, you backdated them. You forged Ms. Walsh's signature. And you used fraudulent power of attorney documents to transfer ownership of a company you had no legal right to control. Trevor's lawyer tried to intervene. Your Honor, my client's intentions. Your client's intentions are irrelevant. His actions constitute wire fraud, identity theft, and corporate fraud. I'm issuing an immediate order reversing all ownership transfers. Apex Solutions is returned to Ms. Walsh's control effective immediately. She looked at Trevor with disgust. I'm also referring this matter to the U.S. Attorney's Office for criminal prosecution. What you did isn't just civil fraud, it's federal wire fraud. Get out of my courtroom. The federal investigation moved quickly. The blockchain evidence was irrefutable. Trevor had committed multiple felonies: wire fraud, identity theft, computer fraud, and corporate theft. He'd also made a crucial mistake. He'd tried to sell my company to a buyer in California. That interstate transaction made it federal wire fraud, carrying up to 20 years in prison. Trevor took a plea deal. 7 years in federal prison. Restitution of $200,000, the amount he'd attempted to steal from company accounts before being stopped. And a permanent ban from serving as an officer or director of any company. My parents apologized profusely. They'd been manipulated by Trevor's claims that I was having a breakdown and needed help. They didn't understand the legal implications of what they were signing. We thought we were protecting you, my mother said, crying. He showed us your company documents. He talked about stress and instability. He made it sound like you were on the verge of collapse and needed someone to step in before you destroyed everything you'd built. I had one panic attack. We know. We're so sorry. We should have talked to you directly instead of trusting him. I forgave them. Eventually, they'd been victims too of Trevor's manipulation and lies. But I added safeguards. Updated my corporate documents to require multiple verifications for any ownership changes. Created clear emergency protocols. Made sure my parents could never be tricked into signing away my life's work again. The thing about Trevor's fraud that still amazes me is how close he came to succeeding. If I hadn't installed blockchain verification, if I hadn't had a CTO who knew about backdoor admin access, if my accountant hadn't been suspicious and called me, if the judge hadn't taken digital evidence seriously, he would have stolen my company, sold it, disappeared with millions. All because I had one panic attack and was unconscious for 18 hours. My name is Naomi Walsh. I'm the founder and CEO of Apex Solutions, a $6 million software company I built over 8 years. My ex-boyfriend tried to steal it by convincing my parents I was mentally unstable and needed his protection. He forged documents, backdated signatures, committed wire fraud. But he didn't know about the blockchain verification system that recorded his every move. The system that provided irrefutable evidence of his crimes. The system that sent him to federal prison for 7 years. Technology saved me. Not luck. Not connections. Not legal loopholes. Just good infrastructure. Smart systems. And the foresight to protect my company with immutable digital records. Trevor thought he was clever. Sophisticated. Untouchable. He wasn't counting on blockchain. And he definitely wasn't counting on me fighting back. Some people prey on vulnerability, on moments of weakness, on split-second opportunities to steal what others built. Trevor saw my panic attack as his chance. He was wrong, because even unconscious in a hospital bed, my company was protected. By technology, by systems, by verification. And when I woke up, I had everything I needed to destroy him. Digitally, legally, permanently. He's in prison now. I'm running my company. And every document, every transaction, every ownership record is protected by blockchain. Immutable, permanent, untouchable, just like it should be.